Nobody was paying attention to the price tag. When Tesla announced a $25,000 car, the headlines wrote themselves. Affordable Tesla, electric cars for everyone. The dream finally within reach. And the public bought it, not the car, but the story. Because that's exactly what Tesla wanted. But here's what nobody asked. Why would a company that spent 15 years obsessing over AI, full, self-driving, and autonomous robots suddenly care about selling you a cheap car? Why now? Why this? And why does the math only make sense if you stop thinking about the car entirely? Because the $25,000 Tesla isn't the product. You are. Or more precisely, your miles are. Every kilometer a Tesla drives gets uploaded. Every turn, every near miss, every split-second brake decision feeds back into a system that is quietly becoming the largest real-world AI training operation in history. And the more affordable the car, the more people buy it. The more people buy it, the more cars hit the road. The more cars on the road, the smarter the system gets. Tesla doesn't need to sell you anything after the car. The car is already doing the work. This is where the story stops being about electric vehicles. But before we get to where this is actually heading, and it goes further than most people are comfortable with, you need to understand how Tesla built itself into a position where this was even possible. Because it didn't happen by accident. It happened because, while every other car company was designing engines, Tesla was designing a trap. In 2012, Tesla released the Model S on the surface. It was a luxury electric sedan. Beautiful, fast, expensive. But underneath the carbon fiber and the panoramic glass was something that had never been put inside a car before, a full over-the-air software update system. Your car could go to sleep one night and wake up smarter in the morning. No dealership, no mechanic, no recall notice in the mail. Just a quiet download and a changed machine. Nobody in Detroit understood what they were looking at. Traditional automakers saw a car. Tesla had built a platform. And the difference between those two things is everything. When you buy a car from Ford or Toyota, the transaction ends at the dealership. They made it. You bought it. They move on. But when you buy a Tesla, you enter a system. Software updates arrive regularly. Features unlock. Full self-driving capability is sold separately as an ongoing subscription. The car is a one-time sale. Everything after it is recurring revenue. Tesla figured out how to turn a depreciating physical asset into a digital subscription model. And it did it before most people even knew that was possible. Now scale that forward. If a $25,000 Tesla puts 5 million more cars on the road, that's 5 million new nodes added to the network, 5 million more cameras, 5 million more steering inputs, 5 million more hours of driving data flowing back to Tesla servers every single day. And this is where the story starts to get uncomfortable, because Tesla was never really building toward selling cars. It was building toward a moment, a specific, definable moment when the data becomes so rich and the AI becomes so capable that a Tesla no longer needs a driver at all. That moment has a name. Elon Musk calls it the robotaxi endgame, and it redefines everything. Think about what you do with your car right now. You drive it to work. You park it. It sits in a lot for 8 hours doing nothing. Then you drive it home. It sits in your driveway overnight doing nothing again. Statistically, your car is idle for more than 90% of its life. It costs you insurance, depreciation, loan payments every single month, whether you drive it or not. Now, imagine that changes. Imagine your Tesla drops you at the office, then immediately pulls back onto the road and starts taking other passengers across the city. While you're in a meeting, your car is earning. While you're asleep, it's still running routes. A portion of every fare goes to you. A portion goes to Tesla. The car that used to be your biggest monthly expense has become a monthly income stream. That's a business unit you park in your driveway. And for Tesla, the math becomes extraordinary. If even a fraction of the millions of vehicles on the road join that network, Tesla collects a platform fee on every single ride. Not unlike what Uber does today. Except there's no driver to pay. The driver is software. Software that Tesla owns. Software that gets cheaper to run, the smarter it becomes. Software that has been training on billions of real-world miles for over a decade. The vehicle gets sold once. The network generates revenue forever. But here is the part that the competitors completely missed, and by the time they understood it, the window had already closed. BYD looked at Tesla's growth and saw a price problem. If Tesla was winning on volume, the answer was to undercut on price. And BYD did exactly that. In 2023, BYD sold over 3 million new energy vehicles. In several quarters of 2024, it outsold Tesla in pure electric units. By every traditional automotive metric, BYD was winning. But BYD was playing a different game. Tesla's manufacturing strategy, the gigafactories, the gigacasting, the vertical integration, was never designed just to reduce costs. It was designed to reduce costs while simultaneously scaling data collection. Every efficiency gain in the factory meant more cars on the road faster, which meant more data, which meant faster AI development. The factory wasn't just making cars, it was accelerating the intelligence of the entire system. Legacy automakers saw the price cuts and matched them. They saw the factories and built their own. They saw the batteries and licensed new chemistry. What they couldn't see, what doesn't appear on any competitive analysis spreadsheet, is that Tesla's real asset isn't a car or a factory or even a battery. It's 11 years of accumulated road data that nobody else has. You cannot buy that. You cannot replicate it quickly. You can build a better EV tomorrow. You cannot build a better trained autonomous driving system without the miles. And Tesla has the miles, hundreds of billions of them. Which brings us to the risk, because this is where most Tesla coverage goes quiet, and it shouldn't. The robotaxi vision isn't a plan, not yet. It's a possibility that depends on a chain of things, going right simultaneously, and several of those things are entirely outside Tesla's control. The first is regulation. Full driverless operation requires government approval in every market where Tesla wants to run a robotaxi network. The United States, Europe, China, and beyond, each has its own legal framework, its own safety standards, its own political appetite for autonomous vehicles on public roads. Technology being ready and being legally permitted are two entirely different things. Tesla could have a flawless autonomous system and still be blocked from deploying it commercially for years. The second is trust. Autonomous driving operates on a confidence economy. One serious accident, captured on camera, reported globally, and public trust can collapse faster than any regulatory board can respond. The system doesn't need to fail often to fail completely in the court of public opinion. It needs to fail once, visibly, with consequences. And then the entire narrative shifts from revolution to recklessness. The third is execution. Elon Musk has announced FSD timelines before. Multiple times, the technology arrived later than promised. There is a growing gap between the vision Musk describes on stage and the version of FSD that currently exists in the real world. That gap hasn't destroyed confidence yet, but it is being watched. And investors, regulators, and customers all have a limit to how long. They'll wait before the promise starts to feel like something else. The dream is coherent. The path to it is not straight. So here's the question that should be sitting with you right now. If the robotaxi endgame works, if the regulation clears, if the AI matures, if the accidents stay manageable, if the execution finally matches the vision, then Tesla will not be remembered as a car company. It will be remembered as the company that redefined what ownership means, the company that turned a depreciating asset into an income stream, the company that built a global transportation network without ever hiring a single driver. But if it doesn't work, if one of those chains breaks, then the $25,000 car is just a cheap car. The data is just data. The factories are just factories. And a decade of promises becomes the longest and most expensive gap between ambition and reality in the history of the auto. Industry.Tesla has built something that could be extraordinary, or it has built the most sophisticated story ever told about a car. The difference between those two things will be decided not in a boardroom, not on a stage in California, but on the roads, quietly kilometer by kilometer, in cars that most people will buy thinking they got a good deal. Maybe they did, or maybe they just became part of something they didn't fully sign up for.